Alright, so we're spraying out some wall panels in a living room, and I'm starting out by doing all my edges, the base and the crown. Now, we've got floor covering down. I've got some 12-inch paper. I've got a strip of orange tape to tuck the carpet underneath the base trim, and then I've got my blue tape and 12-inch paper down as well. So I'm using the shield not necessarily to push the tape down underneath the base. I'm mainly using the shield to block any back spray or like overspray from the sprayer, because on top of my paper I've just got canvas drops, and so sometimes the back spray from these sprayers will cause some blowback in the air and sometimes lift up those canvas drops. So I'm really just using that shield as like a weight. So the sprayer I'm using is the Graco GX19, and I've got a Graco gun and an orange Graco tip housing, but we're using Titan tips. Right now I've got a green Titan fine finish low pressure tip. I believe it was a 210, but this thing was spraying out a ton of material. It didn't feel like, or it didn't seem like it was a fine finish tip really. So later on in the video I swapped to a Titan purple, just regular fine finish tip it says, but it seemed to spray out more fine than this other tip. So here now I'm going to one of the bigger walls. I'm going around doing the base first. Like I said before, I'm just using the shield as more of a weight so that the blowback from the air doesn't lift up my canvas drop and possibly get some overspray on the carpet. We're going to be spraying this ceiling as well, so that's why I'm not really concerned with protecting the ceiling. This is just a primer coat. I know some of you might say that this looks ugly, but it's not. We're not going for looks. This is Sherwin Williams Extreme Bond Primer. It's used for a wide variety of applications, but we use it a lot on wood. So this primer doesn't have to look ugly, I just really need it to bond. The preparation we did for these walls were we pole sanded with 220 and then used M1 Degloss degreaser from Sherwin Williams, and it pulled a lot of the old varnish off. These walls are super old anyway, so it came off pretty easily. And then we wiped down and cleaned before we started spraying this primer coat. And then also you can see there that I'm building up my bottom pretty tall versus towards the beginning of the video, because it seems like if I don't go down as far, I don't get as much blowback from the air to potentially raise up my canvas drop. I'm doing about a 50% overlap on my spray fan. I believe this was a 213 tip or maybe a 210 tip, but it seemed like it was spraying a bigger fan than 4 inches. Okay, now here I am in the stairwell spraying these walls, and you can see that I've swapped my tip to that purple This is supposedly just the fine finish. This isn't a low pressure fine finish tip, but I think the pressure on this was a lot less than that green tip, and you can definitely tell that the fan pattern is a lot smaller, and this was spraying out the material a lot finer than the other tip. So even though this purple tip was only supposed to be a fine finish and the other one was supposed to be a low pressure fine finish, it seems to be opposite. And I was also having a lot of clogging with this tip, and I had to constantly clear the tip out and continue spraying. It was spitting quite a bit on the walls, which after this primer coat we're gonna scuff sand with some 320 grit sandpaper anyway before we apply the finish coat, which is going to be a really nice blue, but I'm probably not going to use this purple tip again because I don't know if it's maybe I had it in the Graco housing and this is a Titan tip, so it just wasn't as a perfect seal maybe, or I'm not really sure. So we're just kind of playing around with tips, seeing what's working. Alright, we're towards the end here. Even though we're going to be painting the ceiling, and I wasn't too worried about it around the crown, I still put some paper up here above the bookshelf because I have 4 sides to spray, and I just didn't want to cake up a bunch of primer in that area and then have the ceiling look all weird. But we've got the whole thing sprayed out with the primer coat. Like I said, it's not supposed to look pretty. I know it looks ugly, but it's just the primer. I just need it to bond to the wood. We're gonna do a light sand with some 320 grit sandpaper before we spray the finish coat of paint, which is gonna be a really nice blue. So that'll be the next video you see. But now we're gonna start breaking things down and wrap it up for the day. So I'll see you guys in the next video.